What up, guys? Fojo here, and today I'm talking about an issue that I don't normally like to talk about. Issues like this, where it gets almost political or into other people's business about what they think about things and other people's opinions. But I I wanted to kind of hit it because it seems as though it affects a lot more things than it used to with the way the internet works now and the way that creators do things and how they react to things and work on things. That's not to say that doing these things that creators are doing are terrible things or that they're solely to blame for certain issues, but I think it's important to acknowledge that they are having an effect and causing games and development teams heavy issues that they have to try and deal with on top of working on a game or a project or a movie or whatever it may be in order to keep it alive and keep it going. If you guys could like the video and subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. And about 90% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. And if you hit that bell, it'll let you know whenever I release a new video and you can catch up on it. Also leave a comment about what you think about this. Am I way off base here, or am I hitting a nerve and this is something that's truly happening and causing issues for the gaming industry and creators across the world, or am I overreacting? Now, before anything happens, I want to make it clear that I'm not calling out any creators specifically. I'm just saying this as someone worried about the trends that are happening in games and culture right now, that I wanted to make this video to bring up the issue. I'm not calling out any creators. I don't mean any ill will towards anybody. I just wanted to get this as an issue in the air and maybe get some feedback about what people think about it. I want to say up front that it is in no way completely these creators' faults that this is happening to these games, these movies, these projects, because there has to be something there for them to poke at to begin with, right? For this to even be plausible for them to do so. I want to say that by no means am I blaming these people 100% for these issues, but I will say that they have definitely had an effect, and I think they have more of an effect than they believe they do. Or maybe they have the exact effect they believe that they have and want to have, and that's why they do it. But really, I'm talking about creators saying that a game is dead or a project looks terrible. Like a good example is like people with the Sonic movie. Like, yeah, like it looked a little weird for sure and wasn't the best style. A lot of people spoke up about it and had them redesign the characters and make the movie. That's fine. I get that. Like, that's if you're passionate about that and want to do that, that's all in your right to do so. I'm not saying that one is exactly the reasoning behind this. I'm just saying that's an example of like how the internet and creators work now. It's a lot more powerful than people see. And so, what I'm going to talk about specifically, though, is that New World is taking hits repeatedly from creators that are constantly saying that the game is dying. And the problem with that is, like, yeah, like, I can see where you're coming from in this time era where the game has taken a huge hit at this point. Like, we've sank down in numbers a lot. But at the same time, this isn't the first time people are making videos like that and saying these things. Uh, People were saying that New World was dying in the first month and the couple months after the game was released. I think that creators saying these things so fast out of the gate is so harmful for a game with creators that have huge audiences that maybe they don't realize what they're doing, or maybe they just want the attention and all the views from the video they're putting out. And I'm not saying I'm not guilty of this as well. Like, I want to get a lot of views on my videos and have people watch them, but at the same time I don't want to put out content that will ruin something for somebody else. Because I believe that when you're a creator, you have the option to either be ethical in what you do and try and put out content that's helpful and useful for the community that you're in. Now, I'm sure that there's a range of this and that it goes from here to there, but I think that there is a portion of creators that put out content that's helpful and informational and really want to help the community that they're in. And then there's a group that and they put out content that kind of jumps the gun on things, and in New World's case, says something is dead before it is, or says that something's dying immediately out the gate, or it's a bad game, and the amount of negative things that were said about New World in the very, very beginning are just immensely crazy. And the thing is, I think it's a trend that will continue to happen for games, and I think it's not good. I think the creators need to be a little more careful with how they do things and what they say, because they could turn a project that a development team has worked on for years and years and years and just flip it on its head and kill it because they think it's not perfect for them. And they decide to tell their million followers that it's a terrible game and that no one should play it because it has this, this, and this wrong with it, while it's still being developed and changed and worked on. Because that's just unfair to the company that's working on it and the people that still love that game. And now the thing is that there are a lot of creators out there that are still working hard to make New World a great place and keep people positive about what's going on there and what's happening. I like to think that I'm one of those, but I think it's tough because there's just so much negativity surrounding it, and the amount of great changes that have been put in place. Every single update, there are great changes made and strides made towards making a better game. I very rarely see anything that I'm like, okay, this is terrible. They should not have done this. But mostly it's just changes that I'm like, that's great. That's exactly what we wanted. We asked for this. They gave it to us. Having a development team that actually listens to you is such a crazy thought to me. And I've said this before in videos, and having a development team that pays attention, wants to make the game better, and changes it when they've asked, when they get feedback from the people that play the game is so rare. And it's so crazy that it's rare, but it is rare in video games. And I think it's such an important piece of a game. I'm so lucky to play New World because I get to have a game that is constantly working on itself and moving forward with better changes, making sure that it's a better place for the players to be always. And New World has such huge potential still, and I hope that they can come up with an idea to market the game, to give it a healthy new start, or figure out a way to relaunch it somehow. But I think it at least deserves that. I think it was given kind of a broken opening, and it didn't deserve it, and people didn't give it the chance that it needed. Like, it hasn't even been out for a year yet, and people have hard abandoned it and think it's dead in the gutter. But there are creators out there that still think it has promise, and even Asmongold thinks that the game is a good game and wants it to succeed, but you can tell that he just doesn't want to play it right now. And I get that he probably doesn't have a lot of people that will watch him play it right now because there's so much hate towards the game right now that if he wanted to play it, he couldn't. And that's totally understandable. If your audience isn't going to watch you play something, then you probably should play something else. Now, granted, do I think that he ever plays anything he doesn't want to play? Probably not. But I'm just saying that the hate towards the game has done so much more damage than the actual game has done damage to itself. And it's hard to believe how dangerous what content creators say is and how much effect they have on it. The amount of creators that came in the beginning and said, "Oh my God, this game's amazing. Like, I love this. I can't wait to play this for years to come." And I guarantee you that a lot of those were paid, right? Like, they got paid to play the game for a little while. But at the same time, I'm sure there was a lot of creators that weren't paid to play the game, came in, loved the game, and then a month later they're saying that they don't want to play it anymore. It's not as popular as it needs to be. It's not as good as it needs to be. And it's mainly because there's a lot of people that put out videos saying that it was dying and dead and that people were leaving it. Now, this may be way off base, and all the things I've said may not be what you believe or what you think, and that's fine too. I get that I may be thinking this because I do love New World. I can't say I don't. I enjoy the game thoroughly. I've almost maxed out all my skills, all my weapons. I've done so much in the game at this point that I I can't say I haven't had fun, right? I just think that we need to be careful going forward with how we react to creators talking about video games and what happens. Because just because a creator says a game is dead doesn't actually mean it's dead. It means that they have chosen not to play it for some reason, whether it's because it's a bad game or not. Let that be for you to decide. Don't let a creator decide for you if a game is good or not, because everybody's different. You may like it and they may hate it, and who knows why they quit that game. Maybe they found something else they love more, which is totally possible. Or maybe they found a game that is more suitable for their audience, or they like to make videos this way instead of the other way, and that just happens to work for them. That's okay. But the main problem here is that you shouldn't be putting hate on a game that you no longer play, or if you even still play it and you just are complaining about it nonstop. Either way, it's detrimental to the game and hurts it without need. I just think it's good to take a step back, realize that creators do have an effect on a lot of things they do, trends, games, how things flow, and I think it's important to make sure that we know that they are having an impact on these things and that they're hopefully making positive impacts, however little or large they may be, but the impacts they are making will have a ripple effect and will change the games and the trends for what's happening around them and on the internet. Now, New World is just an example of this. By no means is it the end all be all, but I believe it's something we may see more in the future of something being chopped away or broken down some because the negativity is overflowing towards it. Whether it's necessary or not, I think that a lot of creators do put out great content and are really great for the communities and do helpful, interesting things. But you just got to be careful about who you believe and who you listen to because sometimes they may not have the best interest in mind for the games that you love. And they may cause negativity towards them and could cause them to have negative effects. Leave a comment if you think I'm crazy or if this is just way out there and doesn't make any sense, or if you agree with me and think that this is somewhat true. Let me know in the comments. I'd appreciate it. Also, if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel, as always, I would truly appreciate it and it would be very helpful. And I'll have more videos out soon. I hope to see you there.